everyone, it's Missy. So I kind of wanted to give you a little bit of a garden update. Also to show you the herbs, how they're doing. So these are the herbs as they are transplanted in the garden. And you can see that in the AeroGarden video that I did with the herbs. I had them all come up except for the chives. But also I wanted to kind of give you an update too on the other items that were in the AeroGarden and how well they're doing. So the peas are just finishing off in the beans, but those are direct sown. But we do have the pumpkins over here. They're finally crawling up the fence, which is what I wanted them to do. And I have 2 plants and they look to be doing just fine. Of course, we have our onions over here, which we've already been harvesting and eating. The strawberries have been done. We got our blueberries. It's kind of interesting with blueberries, they ripen one at a time. So you can see in here. And then the birds pluck them off before I even get a chance to get out here. But the peppers are doing very well. We already got our peppers on the plants. And if you remember, these came up in the AeroGarden. I have 1 jalapeno and 4 sweet bell peppers. And then our cucumbers over here. If some of you are subscribed to my blog, you've already seen that we made our first batch of turmeric pickles, which turned out really well. And then of course our potatoes are dying back and I need to dig them up this weekend so we can get those in our basement, start eating those. And then this is the corn. So the sweet corn on this side of the garden was the stuff that I grew in the AeroGarden, or started in the AeroGarden. And as you can see, we got multiple ears on each stalk. They're looking really good. Actually, these are looking almost like they're going to be ready to harvest very, very soon. And then you have the sweet corn on this side, and this is the stuff that I direct sowed in the garden. And you could tell it's actually pretty close to the other stuff. It's not too far behind. I thought it would be like farther behind. But it seemed to catch up to the rest of the corn. It looks stunted in my other video that I posted earlier. It looks a lot smaller, but now it seemed to catch up. So we'll probably be harvesting that right after the first stuff. And we got our squash, our melons, they're vining and flowering, they're looking good. Tomatoes are looking excellent. We got some tomatoes already showing up on the Romas, which are over here, our paste tomato variety. And then of course we got the early girls over here, and they have tomatoes on them as well. And then of course I planted basil over here too, just because that deters the tomato hornworm. So that's kind of like our complementary growing method here. And the marigolds also hoard off some pests, and the flowers bring in the pollinators. So we got dill all the way around simply because we've moved the patch so many times and it just keeps reseeding itself. The currant has absolutely expanded. I need to get it moved more over to the corner where I have my canna lilies right now, because this is going to take over this entire spot of the garden otherwise. So, and the chickens have been trying to figure out how to get into the garden this year. As you can see, I didn't let them in here at all. We've been keeping them in the barn, and they have not liked that. They really, really, really want to get in here. I just wanted to show you quick the parsley too. We put these in pots because I want to save them, and they're not in perennial in my zone, they're an annual. So if we can keep them in pots and bring them in the fall, I like to use this a lot, especially around the holidays when we're making stuffing or dressing. And these are looking really, really good. I'm also going to show you too, this was also in the AeroGarden, my basket of Calibracheia, which looks good. And of course we had the yellow, and then surprise, surprise, we got a second color, purple, that showed up in the yellow. We still haven't seen pink. But the capsules, like I had said in an earlier video, didn't quite turn out as well. And then we have our other flowers we started, which are now have flowers on them and are going to get ready to bloom, which I'm pretty excited about. Also, another thing you guys have been asking about are the cattle. So we haven't had cattle at all this spring or summer. But as you can see, we are getting ready for the next batch to come in. We're hoping to get some calves this fall, if at all possible. And we have brought in a crew. They put down clay. They kind of made more of a slope from our barn. Before, it was completely flat, and when it rained, the water just was throughout the whole entire barnyard. Now we got a slope so the water can run down to the field. And the flags are marking this because we are going to be putting in a water. So we're having the plumber come, put in a water line, and we are going to also put in an outdoor bunk. Maybe doing some concrete work. That's still up in the air. We do have the foundation now for it if we want it, but we definitely want to get our feeding setup bigger than what we had, and try to expand. Even the fence too is also another option. You can see we've already done and put up all this round bales. These are all the bales that we hayed this year. And another issue is this. We now have a spring that just came up in the middle of our barnyard. So the story behind this is there was a water hydrant here years ago when my dad had sheep, and I always remember it out here. And we got it out, plugged the pipe, thought the pipe plug was going to stay. Of course it didn't, and now it is coming up. The reason why it's coming up so fast and steady is because this would be tied to our pressure tank yet, which is tied to electricity, and that's how we get the water pressure to all our hydrants out here in the barnyards. And yeah, so it's just been steadily coming up. It's been really, really, really dry here. We haven't had much rain. So this has been going on for a couple days, and it's finally starting to branch out. The birds absolutely love this because it's a continuous water feature for them to drink and bathe in. But yeah, so when the plumber comes out, he's gonna have to fix this too. Another good thing too is that the chickens really like this. And so they don't even have to have a water dish. They just come over and take a drink right out of here. Nice fresh water. Yeah, so that's been working out great for them. So I mentioned earlier that I don't have the chickens in the garden this year, and I am going to show you. Gonna leave those guys outside. I still got all 4 chickens, and if you remember, I had them put up in the winter. And now we kind of made more of a permanent setting for them. So I do have their water outside here for them to drink, but like I said, they got a freshwater spring, so they don't need it. This is their chicken coop that we built, and we built this in the middle of the winter. And as you can see, I took the nesting boxes from the coop I had, and we stuck them in here. And then we have the chicken wire is actually from an old duck pen we used to have. And we have some boards, and it's in a corner. So it's nice and big compared to their other coop that they had, so they have a lot of space. They even got a window up there. This window faces towards the west. There's actually an outside door over here, but we boarded it up because the snow would just come through otherwise. And we thought about taking the boards down and using this as an outdoor door, but we didn't. It is a workable door. So we built a perch for them, so they still have a perch. Got their feeders in the corner. They move them around quite a bit. The bricks hold the water up, and then the nesting boxes over here, we just cut a hole in the board and stuck them in there. So this is what we use, like I said, in the winter. We were gonna put a coop in the garden again, but we just never did, and this seems to work out just well for them. It's nice because I can actually walk in there. It's easy to clean. I don't have to worry about stooping down or anything. I got the straw, their feed, and everything right in here. So I got my oyster shells over here, and then I got their feed in a trash can just so that way the mice don't get into it, or other varmints or critters or whatever we get around here. So it's just really nice having everything, and it's indoors. So when we have those bad storms, they just walk around the barn, which looks a lot different. Now that we took everything down, we had to board up the openings that the cattle were going in and out of for now. But this will be put into use again. We still have our bunks set up over there so we could do indoor feeding. But yeah, that's like the whole update of a garden farm. what we're doing this year, like I said, we're not really doing too much. We're just kind of getting ready for the next bit that we want to work on and get some things fixed and enjoying summer while we kind of got it off. Like I said, all I have is 4 chickens, so it's really easy. Really, really easy to take care of. So thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.